Alrighty, I think I might be live. Just bear with us for some apparent technical difficulties. One show that Dyl's not live on the stream with us, and I can't seem to get anything right here. Looks like we got Sif Kanga there in the chat. Tracy Wall. G'day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bear with me just for a sec, and we'll get things up and running. Alrighty, we should have the intro slide on screen. Let's see if we can get to our special guest in here on show with us as well. Sif Hanger, Tracy, welcome. Can you let us know if you can see me on the screen as well as the Sunday Showdown background? Alrighty. Let's see if we can bring Maddie onto the show. Maddie, have we got you there?
Mate, I can hear you. All I can see on the screen is a well-placed team there, but I can definitely hear you, Stu.
Alrighty, I think we finally have things up and running. I'm going to hit the intro in terms of explaining what's happening this afternoon. After FantasyBros. Mate, we are in absolute shambles right now. Have I got you back?
Mate, I can hear you loud and clear. There's definitely worse things happening in the world and also in my GDS squad right now. So no issues with the sound right now, mate.
Fantastic. Well, not sure how much of the intro we got through there, but obviously Maddie's here, coach of the XRP Effect, joining us once again. Dyl's on father duties with Harley's birthday. So, mate, it's becoming a bit of a repeat thing for you. 2 shows back to back. You've already earned your spot in the knockout phases. You said your weekend hasn't been going well so far. What's been the story of the weekend?
I appreciate you having me back on. Last week was good. Look, I've got a bit of a trend at the moment where I decide to fade the highest scoring player of the week. So Thursday night didn't start very well for me, fading Adam Dewey. Unfortunately for me, that was the earliest game this week. So it went into a long weekend for me where I've got to sit and dwell on my decision making there.
I think Dylan and I mentioned that on the show on Wednesday night show when he was really unsure about the Cooler versus Dewey play and a couple of other Tigers, and we said it could go either way. You know, you make the right call and the player goes off for you and you're sitting pretty on a Thursday. But if it's the reverse result, the weekend hasn't even started and you're staring down the barrel of a pretty poor start. Obviously, the 102 points for Adam Dewey, his biggest score of the round. And is it because of the Cooler versus Dewey matchup? That was the main reason you left him out?
Yeah, absolutely. And listening to your boys on earlier on the week, there was probably six backs or six centers and backs there that could have been chosen. I hold a legend Dylan Edwards, so I've decided to play that card over the Adam Dewey card this week, which hopefully works out well for me. But unfortunately, coming up against the Raiders, I thought they might put up more of a fight on Thursday night there against the Tigers. So look, it was just a 6-5 decision, and unfortunately, I chose the wrong one.
Yeah, absolutely. Been there plenty of times before, mate. My whinge of the round so far is Jacob Preston. I think the last couple of rounds, I just haven't got him right. Probably for the last month, I think I've played him for a 22, a 43, a 42, a 38, and mixed in there somewhere was a massive 83 versus Penrith. He was a guy that we were playing in our teams just about every single week last year. Started the season pretty nicely with the 75 and 56, but since then it's been pretty bad, apart from the one occasion he wasn't supposed to succeed when they tore through Penrith. Did you play him as well?
I definitely played him this week. And I definitely faded him a couple of weeks ago as well. Look, I think, for me, it comes down to Lockie Galvin as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the ball that he gets is coming directly from a short ball from Galvin. And the other night when the Dogs were playing, that just didn't look like they were gelling very well until that last 15 minutes. And by then, Preston was already too far gone to be able to rack up a big score, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We won't dwell on the negatives too much, other than you want a quick little rant about the Dragons.
Look, I gave the Cowboys a bit of a tune-up last week. And fortunately for the Cowboys, they responded really well. So for all the Dragons fans out there, we're going to give a quick tune-up to the Dragons. What a just deplorable excuse of a football team they were yesterday. Anzac Day, biggest stage of them all. You could argue it's their biggest game of the year. They try to make a statement during the week where they fire their head coach and drop the halfback, and it just didn't work out. I think the issues for that team stem way beyond the players, and that's a cultural issue they've got all the way through their management. They've made some big signings for next year, and Keon and now Drinky, and hopefully things look up for Dragons fans. Next week, let's see if they get the 2 points. I believe they're up against the bye, so they might struggle. But the track record here is the Cowboys had a whinge and they got 2 points. So let's hope the Dragons fans get that next week too.
You took the easy option there. That's the only chance they're going to get 2 points, and you've done it right before the bye. I love it. That's great thinking. You're probably likely going to be 100% and 2 from 2. Righto, mate. Let's get into talking about the Sunday Showdown. Competition rules for those on screen. Most of us should be familiar by now, but this is a special little competition that GameDay Squad have got up and running this season. We get 12 mil in the salary cap, so we can't just put the best players that we want. We've got to be pretty tactical in terms of the salaries that we're using. So we can use silvers, golds, plats, but we're limited to one diamond card and one special card, and that can't even be a prize card. So, Matty, you and I have been here for quite some time. We've got plenty of prize cards, but they can't get run out in the Sunday Showdown. So it brings the field a little bit closer together. And obviously, most rounds, we just get the 2 matches. We get the 3 sometimes when we've got a Monday game, but just the 2 matches this round. Those 2 matches are, of course, kicking off in about 20 minutes' time. Down there in Newcastle, we've got the Knights taking on the Penrith Panthers, and then a little bit later on at 4 o'clock at Four Pines, we've got the Sea Eagles and the Parramatta Eels. Just quickly, mate, what are your tips for those 2 matches?
Look, I think the Panthers are in for a big one. I reckon they could pour 30, 40 points here on the Knights. Look, the second game, although it seems like a gimme here, I would have said last week for the Dogs it was a gimme as well. Going to tip the upset in that one. I reckon Parra might show up, and Mitch Moses is in for a big one today. So we'll go Penrith and the Eels.
Wow, nice one. Let's see if that influences some of your Sunday Showdown picks. For those playing at home, in the comment section, we're not going to do the first try scorer competition today. Come back next Sunday for that. I'm going to jump off here at about 2 o'clock when the game kicks off. So I won't be able to sit and talk footy with Matty. So we might wrap the stream up by 2. But Sif Kanga's got in there nice and early, going for the Tommy Jenkins first try. Look, if that does get up, mate, first jump into my DMs on Instagram or Discord, and I'll flick you a card your way. You also mentioned the great Sua Wong and he'd be a nice little shout for Preston moving forward if we're a bit sick of playing him. Rightio, Matty, on screen are the team lists for that first game, Knights v Panthers. No changes other than Trey Mooney. Would have been a pretty popular middle forward, I imagine, moving into this round. Let's have a quick look at the percentages. It says here about 33%, so one in each team. He's now moved to the bench for Pasami Saulo. Maybe a bit more of an impact role there. Firstly, was he in your side? And secondly, does that change to the bench make much of a difference in your mind?
Look, he is in my side, Stu. To be honest, I think this is more of a tactic by the Knights here to just get a big middle forward out there for the first 20 minutes, get Pasami to run up the middle, take some of the big hits, and then run Trey out there for the final 60 minutes. So overall, I don't think it's going to be damaging to his score. If anything, I hope other people do fade him. That would be a beneficial thing. So he might be a little bit of a sneaky option to keep in your team now.
Yeah, absolutely. Currently not in my side, actually. I think he's been relying on tries a little bit too much and maybe scores slightly inflated as a result. But look, maybe coming onto the field 20 minutes later against some more tired bodies through the middle there might actually be better because he is a try scorer. It's not really a fluke. Yeah, he's on a bit of a red hot run. He's probably not likely to continue that for the rest of the season, but he definitely can find the try line. And yeah, against some tired forwards, 20 minutes on the field, I might reconsider that. Rightio, we start off with some points of difference. I'll start first with Lukey Brooks. I just saw him at 12% there, and I thought, gee, that's a bit of a pod play given we don't have too many halves options. Although obviously Nathan Cleary, Jamal Fogarty going to be very, very popular. And then the third half is almost a bit of a toss-up. I know you are expecting the Eels to continue their pretty red-hot run, and therefore Mitchy Moses would be a pretty big shout. And look, I definitely trust him from a fantasy perspective over Lukey Brooks. But I just thought that percentage was super low when really Manly could just roll over the top of Parramatta if they aren't ready. And Lukey Brooks could really capitalise. Not really a fantasy stud by any means, Luke Brooks. A 52 is his highest. He's coming off the back of a 47-point score with a try and a try assist. But, yeah, look, if you are expecting Manly to put on a red-hot run, it might be this is the position where you can go a little bit different. Any love for Lukey Brooks, mate?
Look, he initially did start on my team, mate, and I think it was that point of difference play to go. There's going to be a large percentage of GDS players here who are going to play the top three, and if you really want to separate yourself from the pack and get that entry into the $5,000 at the end of the year, you're going to have to do something different. So, look, if you're really on track for a Manly big win today, I think Brooks is a great shout.
Like it, and tell us about Shawnee Russell.
I mean, for me, I think the Eels might turn up for this one. It is an Anzac Day weekend. I don't think they're going to be pushovers there like the Dragons. And if you take out his injury-affected game there in round 5, he scored in 75% of his games this season. So he's got 3 out of 4 games where he scored a try, averaging 2 tackle busts, 11 tackles, and about 100 meters. I think there's some good just base stats there for him. So in a forecasted high-scoring game there at 4 Pines, I think Sean Russell might get a meaty and then get some good attacking stats with it. So for me, I'm going to actually pair him up with Addo Carr and play the both of them today on that left-hand side and hope to see if that makes a point of difference across the team.
Wow, there you go. If you want some pod insight there from someone already into the knockout stages of the Sunday Showdown, look no further. The Sean Russell, Addo Carr combination could definitely pay divvies and get someone that ticket into the knockout group. And Dill's point of difference, Paul Alamotti, Dill wanted to stress he's got about the 3rd best matchup of all centres this weekend. And that meant he was in conversation in some degree for a number of different sides or even a pod side. So that just makes him a bit of a slam dunk play for Dill in the Sunday Showdown. And he expects the Penrith Panthers to score plenty of points and run over the top of that Newcastle Knights left defensive edge that are a bit in all sorts. Righto, mate, let's move on to some salary pods. So some of the guys that pretty heavily owned, although I think the numbers on screen might be fairly misleading. I think we might have a lot of coaches picking their sides just before kickoff because some of the numbers on screen, particularly Tolu Kula at just 54% played as of about 12:30 p.m. I want to say when team lists were finalised. Mate, surely that doesn't stay at 54%. Why is he a massive salary pod in terms of most people are going to play him? Throw as much salary on as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, if there's three things in life we know, it's death, taxes, and a Tom Trebojevic hamstring injury, right? And what happens when Tommy T goes down is Cooler goes to the back. So, there is going to be a lot of points scored in this game. It is at home for Manly. Cooler's had some red hot form when he does go to the back. I think there was a game last year late in the season where he racked up about 10 tackle busts just in one game at fullback, and that won't surprise me if that happens again today. For me, I'll be playing a diamond Cooler, kind of hedging my bets there with some of the Eels outside backs, and hoping that if Manly do score well, the Cooler is the one there to really eat up most of my salary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 54% is criminal, really. He should be much closer to 100%, particularly when you see him as a fullback playing in the centre position on GameDay Squad. And for a lot of people, obviously, Dyl and yourself, he was, your second centre of the round, ahead of a bloke that's already gone on to score 102. Sorry to keep drumming in that fact, but he should be super highly played, and hopefully that comes off for coaches, particularly if you've got him in your under 24s as well, and you've rolled out his diamond in that competition. I know there's someone high in the rankings with that current setup, and they'll be hoping for a massive Tolakula.
How high are they sitting there, Stu, in the rankings?
Right, uncharted territory, I think, for this season so far. I don't normally go on a Sunday on first. Normally like to make my my run home late and soar home over the top of blokes, but I've got to hang on. So yeah, currently in first with the diamond Cooler. Current Casey McLean for any of those just behind me playing at home, but when we log off with maybe 60 seconds to go, that may change. Maybe he's a bit too much of a pod for someone sitting on top, but look, that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk Sunday Showdown. Isaiah Yeo at 76%, I think, is fairly underrated as well. I think he's probably one of the better middle forwards going around, therefore likely in everyone's side. And if you've got an all-star Isaiah Yeo, a platinum, or even as your only diamond that you roll out, I think locking in maybe the 50 to 60 in base for Isaiah Yeo with some sort of attacking upside here against the Knights that are likely to concede a few. Mate, is Isaiah Yeo someone that you've just got to have and may as well throw some extra salary on him?
Yeah, he's a lock this week. I think the mids are quite short across the board, as we kind of touched on there with Mooney. And if there's any mid that's going to be a lock-in, not only your Sunday Showdown, but generally across most of the platform here, it's going to be Isaiah Yeo. Does have some attacking upside as well, and I think in a game that Penrith are going to put some points on the Knights, there might be a chance there for a line break or some offloads and a try for Isaiah. So he should be closer to that 90 to 100% for sure.
Yep, absolutely with you there. And it hasn't really been a Fantasy Bros stream this season without Dylan, for some reason, bringing up Jackie Williams. Look, he hasn't been fantastic. He's got about 8 scores in the 50s, which is fine, which is reasonable. But it might just be the last name. Dill does share a last name with Jackie there. I don't think there's any relation. But look, Jack Williams, bit of a pod for Dill. He likes what he brings, particularly there, starting on the edge, maybe moving into the middle, getting through plenty of work. And I guess as a powerful edge player, every chance to fall over the line. If you are someone like Matty that likes the Eels this afternoon, going for a Jackie Williams just at 64% there may be a play. Just before we move on to our superstars, Skip has a decision to make in his centres there, or in his backs, between Penasini and Lehigh Hopewadi. Obviously, you're of the opinion that the Eels may get the job done. Yep. Is that enough for you to play Penasini over Lehigh Hopewadi?
Look, I personally haven't, but that is potentially subject to change, given it's a later game. Look, there is good reason there to be able to play Penasini. 2 tries out of the 3 games this season, and when Mitch Moses is in the team, Penasini has a better output than when he's not. He is going up against that Manly left-hand side as well that has just been leaking points across the board. As we touched on with Jackie Williams, I think a couple of weeks ago we had the Dragons up against Manly and led in about 75 points to Luciano and 60 to Sedu too. So that left-hand side there for Manly it isn't the greatest. So if we're looking for some upside and, again, some potential pods, I'd be locking in Penasini over Lehigh today.
There you go. Love it. Yeah, I think the winner of this round, it's probably going to come down to the selection in the backs. Forwards seem fairly straightforward, and depending on the outcome of these matches, look, I dare say Penrith will run through Newcastle. It might come down to that, the back makeup of the 4 p.m. game and which team wins, and obviously who we roll out. So there you go. Plenty of options there, Skip. Let us know who you're choosing, mate, and if and who you like in that game as well. Right, mate. The Sunday Superstar. We're allowed one diamond in our sides. The 1.4x multiplier, where we're expecting these guys to have a massive floor and obviously a huge ceiling. So if we're playing their diamonds and everyone else is playing a plat or lower, we get a little bit of an advantage there. Dyl's gone Nathan Cleary. I don't think we need to speak too much about that. Look, if you own a Nathan Cleary, he should be in the side somewhere. Just interestingly, though, those percentage played as of about 12:30 p.m. We had Nathan Cleary down at, where is he? 59%. Yeah, 13% silver, 10% gold, 27% plat, and just 9% diamond. I know we've had a bit of time since then, and I don't have the updated numbers right now, but with 90 minutes to go, 59% Nathan Cleary, 9% only as a diamond. Mate, what's doing? Is he a diamond contention or consideration for you?
He definitely is. I think there's two limiting factors to this. One is everyone changing their team as of 12:30 p.m. to be able to get Cleary in?
Yeah.
Or has Prison Mike just hoarded the other 60 diamond Clearys and there's no option to be able to play him? I think it comes down because he should be the first player chosen today when it comes to the Sunday Showdown.
Yeah. Why do you like Jamal Fogarty?
It's more the matchup here today, Stu. I am favouring the Eels here to get the win. But when we're talking matchup-based, Para are just leaking points out of the halfback. 75 points, GDS points that Para are averaging against them from halfbacks, and that's going out to about 4 weeks now. We spoke about it last week. A couple of weeks ago, Jaden Campbell got over a ton. And then last week, Lockie Galvin got 56 in quite a poor game by the Dogs as well. So for the halfback to have a poor game and still get 56 and not goal kicking, I think there's some upside there for Fogarty if you include between 15 to 21 points in goal kicking. If Manly do put some points on, then you could be looking at an output of 70 to 80 points there for Fogarty. I'm fortunate that I'll be playing his All-Star card. I have put the diamond there on Cooler, but we have spoken about Cooler in Lens today. So for me, Cooler and Fogarty will be the offset for potentially a Manly win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those two guys, regardless of the result, are still going to get through plenty of work and therefore plenty of points. Jamal Fogarty's coming off a 70 and an 80. It's the kicking meters in those last two games, which is absolutely skyrocketed. He had a number in the 300s, which, you expect a bit more from him. He was upwards of 6, 7, 8 at times in the playing for the Green Machine, but 600 and 508 in the last 2 weeks. And those are the easy points that you get from Jamal Fogarty's boot, as well as when he's kicking those conversions over as well. So if the Manly side can get rolling and can score plenty of tries, look, a 40 to 38 point match would probably be great for everything that we've spoken about this afternoon with those Eels backs and then Cooler and Fogarty. Yeah, I'm backing Fogarty in for a massive score as well. If I could play more than one diamond, he would certainly be it. But I just love the matchup for Dyl Edwards. The Newcastle Knights are playing at home, so there might be a bit more resilience there. But look, they've been in all sorts lately, and they're leaking points for fun. Two fullbacks, and I think Dyl Edwards is going to take advantage of that as well. We are expecting the Penrith Panthers to score plenty of points, and in the past, that has not always translated into fantasy points for Dylan Edwards. You see the Penrith Panthers scoring 40 plus, and you're like, okay, Cleary must be on an absolute mozza, and same with Dylan Edwards. But then you're sometimes a little bit disappointed or shocked to see a 30 or a 40 point score, and he's just not really needed. And it's the outside backs that are sort of getting the job done there. Regardless, I think this is a game where both the Penrith Panthers can excel and Dylan Edwards can cash in. Hopefully on both sides of the field, also through the middle. I think he's going to find plenty of space, get through plenty of tackle breaks, and hopefully a try as well. Has scored a few this season. Not really always a try scorer. Typically, a few more try assists. We haven't seen that many so far this season, but scoring a few, and I think he may find the line again this afternoon. Do you think it's a bit of a no-brainer plugging Dyl Edwards in this week as well?
Definitely no brainer in the showdown this week. He's got to be the best fullback that we've got available in that position. Fortunate that Cooler there is available in the centres, so lock in Dylan Edwards for your first fullback.
Absolutely. Righto, we are not far out from kickoff. So on screen, the consensus starting 13 between Dylan and I up front. We've gone IPAP, Jack Williams and Isaiah Yeo with Phoenix Crossland there. We'll get back to hookers in a minute because there's a question in the chat there about the hooker position. Lukey Garner and Haumole Olakuatu in the edge forwards. I know you were pretty keen on Garner, mate, at 30%. Still a bit of a pod there. Nathan Cleary, Jamal Fogarty in the halves. We've got Cooler and Penasini was definitely pushed from Dill there. Tommy Jenkins, Lehigh Hopewade on our wings, and of course the man there, Dyl Edwards. So if you want a couple of Fantasy Bros picks and you're not sure who to plug in and you don't have any of those blokes, consider starting some of them. You'll obviously have to come up with your own bench players, and I think that's where the competition might be won. Mate, a question here from Jado. Dyl and I have gone Crossland. Look, I don't love it. I think there's a shout for Freddie Lussick, and I might have actually just pivoted to him in the last half an hour or so. What's your insight in the hooker position and why?
Look, this showdown today looks actually pretty gross in the hooker position.
Oh yeah,
it is a toss up between Crossland and Lussick. Look, if you think Lussick's going to get the 80 minutes, lock him in. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for Lussick to get some attacking stats, especially in a high scoring game that we think for Penrith. But if you really want to go across a bit of a pod, play them both, lock them both in there, and fade one of your mids. Maybe it's playing a Crossland and a Lussick over a Mooney.
Yeah, wow, that's massive. That's something I hadn't considered at all for this Sunday showdown, given just how gross that hooker position is. But look, you've got to get different if you want to win that competition. Mate, we'll wrap up shortly. Just what was your big difference? Can you recall your win? Obviously, when was that? 2 or 3 rounds ago? What decision did you have to make that you think sort of stood out there and got you the victory?
It does come down to the salary and who you put that salary pod on. Very fortunate for that week that I had a bit of a pod in Hamish Stewart, who I put a plat on. Had an all-star Jaden Campbell and a plat Nico Hines. So between those three, they top scored across the day, and that gets you that little bit of an advantage when it comes to separating you from the pack. So for me, now that I have locked in that position for the end of the year, it is nice to be able to sit back and enjoy the footy on a Sunday. But for anyone who wants some further support, then more than happy to shoot me a DM and I can help you out with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great initiative there from XRP. Mate, who's your Hamish Stewart selection for this week then? I'll throw one at you without any prep.
Look, we haven't spoken about him today. He's an absolute gun. It's Haumole. There'll be a lot of salary there on Haumole. If we're looking at who Manly has centered their attack around, it's that right-hand side with Olakuatu. So for me, if he has a big game, I'll be cheering across all formats today.
I think I like him a little bit more without Tommy Turbo there as well. I think Manly sometimes try to force their hand a little bit too much and just get him the ball, but it's almost back to basics there on the right edge with Fogarty to Haumole, and we've seen some uptick in his output since the absence of Tommy Turbo there. So yeah, I love that, mate, and I think he's due for a very big game as well. Just the 64% ownership as of 12:30. Again, another player there I expect to be quite higher. Righto, we've made it to 2 p.m. The Anzac service is in full swing. XRP, thanks for joining us once again. We are going to leave the show there. We'll Dyl and I will be back, of course, for the weekly Wednesday preview show. But make sure you join us again next Sunday, the 3rd of May at 1:30 p.m. Dyl and I should be back there. But look, XRP, you're always welcome, mate. The insight and the stats you provide, not just beneficial for the both of us, but definitely the wider GDS community as well. Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for joining us once again, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday Arvo of footy, and good luck for the Sunday Showdown. Thanks, Matty.
Thanks, Stu. Have a great day. Good luck, punters. Enjoy.
See you guys.